Hi, AP students. We're here with the second portion of the GDP notes for our second unit here. If you have not gone back and watched the first part of the GDP notes, make sure that you do so. Your notes are going to look like this. You'll be able to find the link at the appropriate spot. Basically, we're going to fill in some charts, and you'll kind of fill these in along with where we are headed. Okay, so we're talking about what is referred to as the GDP deflator today, and kind of the best way to describe it is just really to get right into it and explain what it's trying to show. Okay, so one of the tricky things with these statistics is that, especially with like inflation, or we're trying to talk about the CPI, we don't always necessarily know exactly how much inflation is going to affect us. For example, like if the price of milk, for example, goes up by 50 cents, that's going to be way different than the price of, say, um, carrots going up by 50 cents. Theoretically, because milk is much more of a necessity. Okay. And so we also produce much more of certain items in certain cases. We want to look at the average increase in prices. Okay, so let's solve some GDP problems here. I already have some things filled out. Okay, so as you can kind of see, we have two different years. We've got 2014, we've got 2015. So we want to compare these prices, and we're going to eventually show the prices and how much they change based on one year to the next. Okay, so the first thing that we got to do is we've got to figure out the GDP. All right, so let's just do some quick math. You can do this on your own. You'll have a chance on the next one to do it if you wanted to pause it. All right, so our total GDP here is pretty simple. It's going to be $2 times 10, 20, plus $2 times 40, or times 2 is 40, and then we've got 50. We've got to add all these things together here. Okay, very simply put, in 2014, our nominal GDP, which means not adjusted for inflation, is 110. Now, our base year, okay, is 2014, so our real GDP is going to stay the same as also, so that's also 110. Okay, so real GDP, as a quick review here, equals GDP at base year prices. Okay, you'll see if you get ahead here, you'll see that we're going to get to that here in a second. Okay, so let's figure out the rest of this math here. We got to remember these two numbers over here. All right, but let's figure out some math here. Let's figure out the GDP, the nominal GDP in 2015. Okay, so 12 times 250, that's going to be $30. 3 times 25 is $75. 5 times 11 is $55. Add those up, that's going to give us $160, not adjusted for inflation, in 2015. Now, it doesn't tell us the whole story. We can tell that these prices have changed from one year to the next. And we have produced more stuff. We actually produced the same amount in this case of needles, but our GDP goes up, right? So what we've got to do is we've got to take the 2014 prices and apply them to our quantities. Okay, so we've got 12 times $2. We've got 25 times $2, and we've got 5 times $50. I'm sorry, 5 times $10 equals $50. All right, I'm just going to put these over here to kind of keep my writing straight. All right, and 24. Now that gives us a real GDP of $124. So things are better, right, than the previous year compared to 110, but they're not quite as good as what we might have initially thought. Okay, so let's talk about what we can use these numbers for. We're going to find what's referred to as the GDP deflator. All right, and our GDP deflator is nominal GDP divided by real GDP. Okay. Then we're going to multiply that by 100. And it's going to give us the average price increase from one year to the next. All right. So I have our numbers. I transferred them. Okay. So from 2014, I'm using these numbers, right? My real GDP is 110. My nominal GDP is 110. So my nominal divided by real GDP is 110 divided by 110. We're going to multiply that by 100. That's going to equal 100. Okay, so it's going to make our math real easy as we move forward here. Now, obviously, that's not the case for what our 2015 number gives us. So we're going to take nominal GDP again, same numbers transferred from the previous slide down here. Okay, we're going to take 160 divided by 124. We're going to multiply that by 100 also. That gives us 129. Okay, we need to remember that number. Now, we have the GDP deflator for 2014. We have the GDP deflator for 2015. The way we solve our average price change, okay, from 2014 to 2015, is we take our 2015 deflator, 129, minus our 2014 deflator, 100, all right, divided by our base year, which is 100. All right, so in this case, it makes our math real easy. We get 129 minus 100 is 29 divided by 100. All right, that's going to equal 29% after we multiply that by 100 there. Okay, so pretty easy. We just got to remember what we're doing. And again, this is the average price increase from 2014 in this case to 2015. Made up years, right? Okay, let's try it again. Go ahead, pause the video. You do the math, figure out the nominal GDP, the real GDP for each year, and see if you can't come up with here shortly the deflator. Okay, so pause the video and come up with your answers. Okay, I went ahead and I filled in these charts for us. Okay, hopefully you're getting the same thing as we're practicing these, and you're getting pretty accurate at it. My encouragement again is just like anything else that we've done is keeping track of your answers and knowing what you're going to do. I make it a point to try to put stuff and show myself where I'm putting stuff because sometimes it's hard to keep track of. Okay, now obviously I added my stuff on the outside of this box just for clarity reasons. I ended up with 196 in 2014, 196 real GDP in 2014. That's our base year. Okay, so that's easy. That's going to stay the same for both. Over here, I ended up with 266 and 220. All right. Now let's apply this deflator. Okay. So our nominal and real GDP from 2014 is 196, 196. All right. And our real GDP and nominal GDP from 2015 was 266 and 220. All right, so our deflator over here is going to be nominal divided by real. So 196 divided by 196, just to go through the motions here, times 100 is going to equal 100. We need that number. Our deflator over here is 266 divided by 220. Apologize. Now, one way to remember it, again, nominal GDP goes in the numerator. I don't know. It's a little bit of a trigger word for you. Hopefully you can make that work. What we see over here is going to be our deflator equals, or multiply it by 100, equals 120. Okay. Down here, change in deflator divided by the base year, 120 minus 100 over the base year, which is nice, is always 100, right? Equals 20 over 100 equals 20%. All right, so that's our average price change in that particular problem. All right. There's some practice problems for you there. Let's go through and do one more quick one since I've got your attention. I'm going to fill it out relatively quickly. We're finding the real and nominal GDP for each year. All right, and then we're going to find the GDP deflator from 2015 to 2016. We'll do all the math here. You should have a chart that you can fill out as um, you're doing these. Go ahead, take a quick second, do the math, and let's see if you can come up with the right answer. Okay, guys, I've went through and did this math, trying to keep it all on one page so we weren't going back and forth. Things got a little bit sloppy, but you can still check your work. Um, Obviously, I went through, I did the, step by step here. I went through nominal and real for each side. I used a little bit more complicated numbers this time than in the past. Um, Again, if you can do these complicated numbers, you can do any type of numbers. So I've got my real and nominal all set up there. My 2015 deflator, my base year, we know that that's going to be 100, so I just wrote that in there. I had a short start. I took a shortcut. And then my 2016 deflator, remember, 14,701 divided by 14,031 equals 1.047. Times it by 100, you end up with 104.7. Really, to be honest, your work can basically stop right there. But we're not quite done yet. We've got to take 104.7 minus 100, okay, um, and then divide it by 100. It ends up at 4.7%. All right. So anyway, hopefully you're able to get that answer there. Again, remember, you can eliminate this. You can eliminate this stage of things if you can remember that. Once I get to here, um, all I need to do is eliminate that 10 right there. Okay, so anyway, hope that works. If you got questions, email me.